Welcome to the Chopin channel. I'm Roberto Poli. Could it be a speck of ink flung from Chopin's quill? I asked in my previous video. Today, I returned briefly to the topic, this time focusing on a staccato that I had showed to illustrate my point in the manuscript of the Ballade in G minor, opus 23, what looks like a tiny ink droplet that landed above the beginning of measure 34. A few days ago, I argued that this ink droplet be one of many that flew off Chopin's quill as he penned the Ballade in the manuscript prepared for his Parisian publisher Schlesinger. From that manuscript, proof sheets were created which were then used not only for the Schlesinger edition in Paris, but also for the Breitkopf und Härtel edition in Leipzig and the Wessel edition in London. None of these first editions reported this dot as a staccato, likely because the engraver at the Schlesinger firm understood that the dot was not a staccato marking at all. My argument for excluding this dot as a staccato rests primarily on its placement because it appears unusually far from the note head. Across the manuscript and, in fact, throughout Chopin's output, we consistently see that staccato dots are generally placed very close to the notes they belong to. This spatial consistency suggests a deliberate and systematic approach in the way he wrote staccato notes or chords, which makes the stray dot in question seem suspect. Just yesterday during a lesson, one of my students played the Ballade and handed me the most recently printed version of the Henley edition to follow his playing and make notes. To my surprise, the Henley edition includes the staccato mark in measure 34, and I was perplexed, especially since my older Henley edition does not report the dot at all. After a brief investigation, I discovered that other recent editions now include it as well. Among them, the Ekier edition, currently the required edition for competitors in the Chopin competition in Warsaw, which is taking place as I record this video. This editorial decision reflects somewhat of a shift in Chopin's scholarship. Earlier editions, such as those as Henley in the mid-20th century, relied almost exclusively on first editions, which were then the most accessible sources. The later availability of Chopin's manuscripts allowed scholars to re-examine details of his notation more closely, articulation, pedal markings, and, I guess, even the stray ink dots. Still, we must remember that the inclusion of this staccato is an interpretation of what appears in the manuscript. In my view, a more analytical approach, considering the typical placement of Chopin's staccato dots versus the ambiguous position of this stray mark, should have classified it at best as doubtful. Chopin, after all, indicated the C sharp in question by writing it as an eighth note followed by an eighth rest, which, in essence, already accomplishes what a staccato marking implies, the shortening of a value.